Lift off in 3, 2, 1.
Hi there. Welcome to the Vitamin Index. I'm your host, Jerry Pujals. And today I have a special guest, my better half, Susan Pujals,
Eating for breakfast.
eating banana bread.
It's vegan.
I don't know if that's vegan, but sure.
It said vegan.
It did say vegan?
Yeah, but we know it's not.
Well, no, it is vegan. It just might not be super healthy, right?
Exactly.
I think that's what, it probably has white sugar.
It has salt, oil, and sugar, I guarantee it.
Salt, oil, and sugar. Yeah, it probably does have all three. So today's episode, we really wanted to talk to you about a couple of things. Number one is what it's like for Susan to live with a newfound vegan. I've been doing this now for getting closer to a year and a half, and she has endured quite a bit. And then I also wanted to talk a little bit about what some of the challenges are now. But before I get into the challenges and some of the things that if anybody's thinking about going vegan, I'll go into some of the tips and tricks and things that have helped me along the way. I wanted to sort of get into, what are the challenging things about being a vegan. Right now, we find ourselves on holiday, vacation, like we say here. And, we're with friends, we're hanging out, and I find that one of the most challenging things for me, which by the way, this was more about what's challenging for you about living with a vegan, not what's challenging for me. But if I may just jump in real quick, the social aspect is probably one of the most challenging things. And it's not necessarily, people looking down at you. I find that what I'm doing seems to me that it makes people question what they're doing or maybe what they're not doing. Do you see that sometimes? Like people just
I think what it is they want to make sure that you're comfortable. I don't think it has to do with them. I think because we're ordering and we're eating things or whatever, we want to make sure that we're accommodating you so you don't feel left out. And I think that really is what it is. Are you okay?
Yeah, I did feel that.
Yep. Yeah. Because I think, you know what? Most people, they don't want to make it. Sorry, I have allergies here. They don't want to make it difficult for you.
I think it's the oil.
No, it's not.
I'm just kidding.
No, as soon as I walk outside,
I'm just kidding.
I start sneezing.
I'm just
and my
kidding.
nose gets all plugged up.
It's the dairy. That's what happens when you're a vegan. You become all righteous and you just think you're better.
You're like an ex-smoker.
You're totally like an ex-smoker. That's messed up. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that feels accurate. That what they were doing. A lot. I mean, I was so full. I had eaten such a large meal a couple hours before we met them for a happy hour the other day. And the fact that, I don't drink anymore, that almost socially, that in and of itself makes people, I think, a little bit, oh God, why are you not drinking? So in that regard, I think people when people go drinking, I think they like for other people to drink. I think they don't feel like you're as loose as they are, and again, I don't fault them for trying to make sure that I'm feeling good about, my hang time with them, and they're being super cordial hosts.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to be cordial and making sure you're not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you never really were a drinker. I'm not really a drinker. And
Right.
So I don't think it's that unusual for you or I to say, oh, no, we're just going to have water or whatever. And there were a couple of people at our table that were the same way too. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's the issue as much as the food. the food, the appetizers, the dinner, right? And then sometimes you're not having anything, or if you are, you should talk about the Cindy.
Cindy.
The Cindy, how they said, "Oh, you're Cindy."
Oh, yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, one of my friends has a friend named Cindy, and when Cindy goes out to a restaurant, Cindy's the type of person that wants to drink her calories. So she is very, Cindy is the proverbial Hollywood type person, and not to say that everybody in Hollywood's the same, but she's she's done the plastic surgery everywhere. She's probably 55 years old, made to look like she's trying to look like she's 35, and Cindy, when she goes out to dinner with friends, she will order lettuce, like literally lettuce with maybe lemon on it, and that's all Cindy will eat, because then she wants to have 12 cocktails that night. So she doesn't eat her calories, she drinks some, and that's how Cindy lives. So now they're calling me Cindy, because when I order, it's a little tedious, because I have to be extra courteous, extra kind, extra gentle with the servers to explain what it is that I'm wanting to eat. When you say to somebody no sugar, oil, or salt, there's a glazed look in their face like, what? We can't prepare something without salt, oil, and sugar. And this is what I would want people to consider. Think about that. Think that places cannot cook something for you without salt, oil, and sugar in most cases. There are very few places that we go where they accommodate that, and that's a tall ask. And I tip really well when they do it for me. I certainly come back and support them when they do this for me. But it's not, it's not the funnest thing to sit there in front of everybody else and have to go through this whole thing. And if you don't deliver it just right, the server's going to turn around and say, "We can't help you, sir." But if you deliver it with humility and kindness, I've always studied how far out of their way they'll go to take care of my needs, and I find it wonderful. And I've been able to get back out and go out with my friends and do things together that I wasn't doing for the first year when I started doing this, because I just didn't even know how to navigate that.
Yeah. There are a lot of things like on the menu that they can modify for you if you know how to ask them or what to order. I think.
Yeah.
Like they did that ratatouille thing for you.
That was wonderful. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a ratatouille, which was basically looked like a zucchini lasagna, just layered with squashes and beautifully baked. But then they would put a balsamic glaze on top. And I thought, I could do balsamic by itself. Balsamic vinegar that doesn't have salt, oil, or sugar. Balsamic vinegars do not have salt, oil, or sugar. But when somebody told me, "Jerry, be careful. The word glaze," was it Annie that said that? Annie said, "Be careful, the word glaze."
Yeah.
And she was right.
They put it on the side.
Yeah,
and
well,
you didn't have it.
Yeah, but because it was glazed when it came, it looked like honey. It was so thick, and that was all sugar in there. So it was interesting. We navigated that, and we came out okay. But the one thing that I will say that it's improved a lot for me, and I've said this on other episodes, which is the longer I go with salt, oil, sugar, the easier it is to navigate hanging out with friends and not feeling like I'm missing anything. I really am at a place now where I really don't feel like I can't tell you that, if you're eating a pizza in front of me, or some of the things that I found myself really addicted to, melty cheese and things like that. I don't do dairy. Those type of things, those are addictive substances or addictive foods. There's something in cheese that rewards us. I guess that's why mice love cheese. They feel rewarded when they're in their little cage. Remember the book Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
Boy, cheese will make us go anywhere. Not just, and they use mice in laboratories to to do experiments on to see how they react to things in comparison, because they're the closest thing that I think human beings feel that they're not being cruel by doing experiments on, but they do experiments on mice and what is it, pectin? Is it pectin? Is that
no, it's casein.
Casein.
Yeah.
Casein, I think, is what's in cheese that we get super addicted to.
Yeah.
And I know that for a lot of people, pizza and things like that are just, pizza is a perfect trifecta of, there's sugar and flour. Flour turns into glycogen, it turns into sugar in your system. And oh my God, there's a reason why pizza is so popular. It's delicious. And I'm not saying that those things are not delicious, but I'm also saying that our palates get so used to those things that it's not until we flush those out and go through the pain of getting those out of our system that we stop missing them. And I can certainly say that I'm over that threshold now. And I feel very happy and not like I'm missing anything by being over that threshold. But this episode is about what it's like to live with somebody that eats this way.
Huh?
What do you mean? We just started. This is not a long episode.
Well, be specific.
No, be honest.
What is it like?
Yeah, what is it like? I mean, for somebody that you're not a vegan, for somebody that lives with somebody who I'm still going to say I'm a food addict, because I don't know, that's just like alcohol. I don't think that's something that ever goes away. You're in recovery for the rest of your life, and you still have to be humble enough to know that you could slip on a banana peel if there's trauma and things that life throws at us. There's always a time and a chance that one is just in so much pain that you just don't care, and you start slipping and start backtracking, and that I think I have to be mindful of.
Right.
But what is it like living with somebody that's been?
I think it's very different. So I was a vegan before I met you.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, 2 or 3 years, it wasn't something for me because I probably didn't complement my proteins enough. I've always felt a little tired, and then once I started having kids, I stopped being a vegan just because it was hard. But again, I don't really like beans, and so I think that's a problem for me with probably not getting my proteins and things like that, and then you're having to go to foods that are super processed. So and those super processed foods, like the what is that called, Beyond Burger and things like that, that's made with like tofu and things. They're one of those things, back when I was a vegan, and so that's the reason why I stopped being a vegan. I understand why you're wanting to take this path, because it's a palate cleanser for you. It satiates you in a good way, so that you're not overeating your calories, and so that's something that works for you. Has it been a little bit difficult for me? Yes, because it's been a bit extreme. And years ago, I used to have like an issue with like trying to keep weight on, and probably had some sort of eating disorder, I would imagine, where if I wasn't hungry, I just wouldn't eat. And I remember when I was younger, I got really, really sick, and they wanted to put me in the hospital, and my mom said, no, I'm going to stay home with her. I'm going to take care of her. I'm going to make sure she eats. And then with the doctors and I think I had a small little amount of counseling, and I remember them saying, don't limit yourself to what you can eat. Just eat whatever you want, and don't limit yourself. And so that's kind of the philosophy that I had after that, because I think I got really scared, and I was super skinny. And so after that, I just gave myself permission. You eat what you want, you know, don't limit yourself with what you can eat, and never really had like a food issue or a weight issue. I mean, I'm always been a little on the thin side, and don't struggle with weight. And so I think when you started this, at first it didn't really bother me, but then I noticed that I started losing a lot of weight and getting like too thin. And then I didn't feel good. And then some of those issues I think started to come up for me. You know, I'm telling myself that I can't eat these things, and it's the exact opposite of what I'm supposed to be doing. And, you know, I felt like I was going backwards. And so I guess what we figured out was I could eat some of the foods that Jerry eats, but what I have to do is I have to add calories. I have to add avocados. I've got to add hummuses. I have to eat more nuts. And yeah, I probably have to eat some animal protein because I'm not a bean eater. I don't really care for beans. So I can't be like a complete vegan. I don't want to be, because it makes me struggle. And so, but I respect, you know, what Jerry's trying to do. And if that works for him, that's great. But for me, being a complete vegan doesn't really work for me. I need just, you know, other things in my diet, and don't limit myself. I'm not a person that in general, I don't eat badly, maybe badly compared to how you eat, but as a whole, I probably eat fairly good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you eat really good. Yeah. It's funny. I was just thinking while I was listening to you say that, I was thinking, we've become your dad and your stepmom, the odd couple.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
We're the odd couple,
Dun, dun, dun,
a vegan and a
dun,
non-vegan.
dun, dun, dun. Right. Felix and Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Or
my God.
Felicia and Oscar.
Oh my God. All right. After 35 years of being married, we found a way to become really different and complicated. No, but I'm really proud of us for figuring out how to make it work. Because, you know, I am so happy that now, you know, if you're going to eat oatmeal, you'll add almond butter to your oatmeal, which I would never add to my oatmeal because I don't need those calories. And all of a sudden, it gives me the ability to keep me on my path, and it gives you the ability to keep you on your path, which is, you know, not to vanish and disappear, because to me, that's almost more scary than gaining weight. And that losing weight thing is that's a lose-lose. You know, you just, yeah. When you're already svelte and you continue to lose weight to stay on that path, it's scary. So no, I'm glad that we figured it out. So, but one thing that I do notice is that I would say that you really stepped up your nutrition game, because it seems like, you know, I'm pretty good about cooking most days, because I cook for myself and everyone that wants to eat the way that I eat. That's kind of what I've been doing, right? I cook a large batch every other day. I cook a large batch of something, and there's always something to eat. But if I don't do that, I find you asking me, hey, what are you gonna make tonight? Or what are you doing tonight? And I love that, because it tells me that you've gravitated towards whole foods, right? Towards you know, the brown rice or the vegetable stew or whatever it is that I'm making. You seem to be happy to eat it. And then you will augment it with, like you did, I think night before last, you had a piece of salmon. When we went to the grocery store, you bought a piece of salmon, and you grilled that, and you added that to a bowl of vegetable brown rice that I had made, right?
With sweet potato.
With sweet potatoes that were unbelievable.
Yeah. Or sometimes what I'll do is, like, if you use fruits and veggies and things like that, then what I'll do is I'll scramble up a couple of eggs, throw it on top of it, for my protein, things like that, or different like hummuses or avocados. I love avocados, so I eat a lot of avocados.
They're calorically dense and they have a lot of oil.
Yep.
The hummuses do too. They add a lot of those. They add oils to them for preservation. They add salt for preservation. The other thing that you like is baba ganoush. You mentioned groats, and for those people that don't know, because a lot of people don't know what groats are. A groat is the raw form, the whole form of a grain, like a wheat berry, is a groat after they remove the husk. Oats, we've been eating a lot of oat groats, and once you remove the husk off of the oat, what you have is the groat, and the groat is what they run through a press that presses us into. The thinner they press that groat, the quicker your oatmeal cooks, which is why you get like 1 minute oats, or you can almost eat them raw. I eat 1 minute oats. I just put either cold water or oat milk on it, and I eat those immediately cold with some berries. You don't even have to cook them. But the reason you don't cook them is because they're pressed, and the thinner they are, the quicker they absorb a liquid. But the groats in their whole form, we cook those in the Instant Pot, and they're like rice, but with a ton more protein. Groats have, I think it's 7 or 7.5 grams of protein per quarter cup of rice, which is an insane amount of, and that's uncooked rice, not cooked. But it's an insane amount of protein. And that's where people, a lot of times I think they get confused that you can only get protein from meat. And they don't understand that the reason meat has protein is because of the plants that those cows ate. That's why meat actually has protein, because they were first consumed. Cows don't eat meat. Cows only eat plants. So if protein is the reason that you're thinking, oh, I can't become a vegan because I'm going to lack protein, I assure you, you're not going to lack protein. And if you're not a bodybuilder or just looking to gain excessive amounts of muscle, the chances are you don't need as much protein as you've been told you need. I think we've all been really fooled into this whole, we need protein because it helps us in the purchase.
Let's go back to the I don't like beans.
Oh, no, for you, it's totally different. Yeah, if you don't.
And if somebody doesn't like beans, you have to figure out, okay, where are they going to get some of their protein?
Yeah, but here's, I'll make a bet with you.
I think you would have to almost overeat to get it.
I think, and we can talk to Dr. Goldhammer, we can talk to Dr. Lyle. It just depends on what the reasons are why you don't eat meat or why you eat meat. Ultimately, I don't know that people really eat meat strictly for protein. People think they eat meat for protein. I think what you're missing is the calories. Is the caloric density in meat is really there. You get a lot more calories per bite. And that's what your body is requiring. It's more calories. When you put the almond butter in your peanut butter.
In my peanut butter? You mean almond butter in my oatmeal?
When you put your almond butter in your oatmeal, or when you're eating your trail mix and all that, that's taking place of the meat. I think what happens to some of us, or most of us, is that we get confused and we think we need more protein, and we're confusing that with calories. If you're looking for more calories, you're going to get more calories out of more calorically dense foods. Calorically dense foods are meat. It's super calorically dense. Meat has almost like no fiber. And what most of us are lacking is fiber. I mean, most of us go to the bathroom once a day. I hope that most of us go to the bathroom to do our business once a day. I can tell you that for me, it's like twice a day usually, because the amount of fiber that I eat. And one thing that I recently learned is that some of those calories that I'm eating are also leaving my system by the way of number twos. The calories are leaving some of those calories because the body can't process every calorie in every single bite of that fiber.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't happen with meat or more or oils. All those calories are absorbed. And in your case, it's a good thing. You know, you want to hold on to some of those calories. It just depends, huh?
Absolutely.
But I'm just impressed that you've been able to endure.
Oh, well, yeah. I just, again, definitely perfect with my eating. You just saw me eating a banana bread. So, but mine is more about not telling myself I can't have something. I can have it.
Can
Right.
absolutely
I give
can
myself
have
permission
Huh.
to have what I want to have and what I feel like eating. Yeah.
It smells good. The banana bread smells good. Your almond milk latte.
Almond milk latte. I still drink a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and I think that.
But I don't overdo that.
And I don't think there's anything wrong for you don't have a nervous system the way that I do. You're not you know, jittery type nervous system. You're a very calming person, and I don't think that affects you. For me, I stopped drinking coffee a year and a half ago, along with all these other things that I removed, because I have a highly sensitive nervous system, and to add coffee to that is just so unnecessary. But what I find extremely liberating is that the longer I go without, the less I need. So the longer I go without salt, oil, sugar, processed foods, animal products, caffeine, and alcohol, the longer I go without all those things, the less triggering they are. I mean, remember what it was like first month or two when I started doing this, how I would beg you not to indulge in front of me?
With certain foods?
Yeah,
with certain foods. Yeah, that was a little annoying.
Yeah.
Felt like I had to be a closet eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt awful having to ask, you know, and it was almost like I was desperate. It's like, please help me. Don't don't do this in front of me because I'm having a hard time abstaining. I'm really struggling.
Right. Well, and the strange thing was because you were really strict and weren't eating carbs and you were not eating nuts and seeds. And it wasn't that I was eating anything bad around you. It was just like nuts and things like that. I think it was the crunching.
Yeah, the crunching would even trigger me.
Oh, okay, right.
That was awful.
Not that I was even eating anything bad.
Yeah.
But
well, you were eating peanut butter pretzels one time, and those things are very heavy crunch. I can hear you crunching those from the room next door. Oh, it was awful, and I felt awful having to ask you to not do that around me. It felt like a little kid. Like, why am I asking her to not do that? It's a real battle. I mean, this whole food thing, it's a battle. And I just, again, for those people out there that are struggling with weight loss, abstaining, you know, I just want to say that by abstaining, I imagine things for you can also get easier. And that's what I have to say about me. It's gotten so much easier now that you know, I can go to Las Vegas with my friends for Super Bowl and
that's a whole other level.
Yeah, but I can abstain from the foods that they're eating or drinking, and it doesn't bother me the way that it did because there's been so much time that has passed. But the tough part is making it through to see another day and giving yourself enough time, right?
Sure.
You know, and again, that doesn't mean that tomorrow is a promise. You know, you just never know. But I can tell you that you sitting next to me having banana bread and an almond milk latte doesn't make me feel like I'm missing out on anything. I just had oatmeal with berries a little while ago. I'm super satiated. I'm super calm. I didn't have caffeine, so it didn't trigger me to feel unlike myself. So I feel very calm and peaceful right now. Probably also because we're looking at the ocean and in Maui, so that doesn't hurt. So yeah, so you know, what are some of the tips that that I want to give people for if they're thinking of starting in some type of either a weight loss journey or a journey of abstaining for a while, so their palates get cleansed from craving all these processed foods, Ritz crackers, Doritos, Cheetos, all those delicious things that are designed to make you want to eat more. I would say consider the SOS. I mean, start with that. Start removing salt, oil, and sugar from your diet, whether you're vegan or not. Because I assure you that if you're going to eat a ribeye steak or a filet mignon and you do not put any salt on that, I can assure you you're more than likely going to eat less. Because, you know, there's something about eating a piece of meat, charred with salt and flavors, and even, you know, chefs add reduction sauces with sugar on your meat. You know, consider that and just sort of like AA, one day at a time. And know that, you know, your first 3 days are going to be the very worst. First 3 months are going to be challenging. The first 6 months, you'll start seeing a light and you'll start distancing yourself in a way that you never thought would even be possible. But it takes that philosophy of one foot in front of the other. You literally have to just slowly put a foot in front of the other, just like any kind of a hike, right?
Definitely, yeah, for sure. I've seen it. Yeah, you've done an amazing job. A lot of willpower, that's for sure.
But you see, and a lot of people said that last night. They were saying, "Oh, you have this willpower. You have this willpower."
It's a willpower.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. I'm going to politely disagree because no, I think more than anything was
Excuse me. It's
you better cover your microphone. You see, I'm going to just brag. I don't have allergies. I don't
You
have
allergy. When you're at home, you take allergy meds.
Oh, okay. And the pollen season. That's the good thing about having your wife on the show is she will credit or discredit in any which way. Yeah, I take Zyrtec when the pollen season, the hay and the pollen lights up. But you know, I'm curious, Susan, when I get
it's the different grasses here and the flowers here because it's windy.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm certain it's allergies because as soon as I walk outside, it gets 10 times worse. So
she's lactose intolerant and she still eats dairy. That's all I have to say. He does. A little bit of dairy will get you. If you're lactose intolerant, no dairy might be a good idea. But again, I'll stop picking on her. She loves yogurt. But I think if you took your microphone off, I don't think they were able to hear you. I don't know. I apologize. This episode of audio is wonky. We're not well set up out here. All right. But in wrapping up, I would say, yeah, consider sugar, oil, and salt. And if you can't do all three, maybe consider one at a time. Consider removing, you know, sugar. I think salt for most people is the hardest thing to remove. But if you're looking to lose weight, definitely oil is the most calorically dense food that you can eat. So cutting that one out will help you with calories. But I think salt will help you with quantities. You know, the quantity of food you eat, because the more salt and sugar you have in your food, along with the oil, the more you want to keep going back and you don't get satiated. You just keep getting reward messages from hits of dopamine. So that's about all I have to say about that. Give us any comments, questions, anything. If you'd like to know a little bit more about, you know, who I have read up on and who I listen to, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to answer that for you. If this has been helpful in any way, hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and give us a little like. And aloha and mahalo. Here's to your health.